So I'm Neil Gornflow with Shareable magazine, and I'm here with Mike, the author of Playborhood. And I thought, Mike, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, and then what led you to this idea of Playborhood?
Well, I am an author today, just published this book, but in my past I was an internet entrepreneur and software entrepreneur. And I think fundamentally what brought me to this is that I heard about kids' lives these days when my first son was about to be born 8 years ago. And I said, I can't do this. I can't have my kids just sit inside and play video games and watch TV or be scheduled and driven around all over the place. I just can't do this. And as an entrepreneur, I kind of thought, well, hey, I'll change it, you know. I'm not going to just accept this. And so I've been working hard at it in my own yard, but also studying other places throughout the United States and in Canada where they're making a difference, where they're really giving their kids a really full life where they can be autonomous and independent.
Right, and so, before we started talking on camera, you also said something about making the private public. Tell us a little bit more about that and how that's been for you.
Well, where we live, this yard, which you see a little bit in the background here, we've made an amazing play space for kids. We've rethought every square foot of our yard to make it into a place where kids can actually play and be outside. And we tell our neighbors, anybody really, please come use this place. This is your place too. The problem for kids is that parks are almost irrelevant anymore. Kids don't go to parks because kids don't roam more than a block.
Right.
Some of them don't roam,
Or they only go with their parents because of safety stuff and that kind
Right.
of. How does that play into things like parents' fears about the safety of the kids and that kind of stuff?
Well, it's interesting. If you get to know your neighbors, then you're more comfortable with them, and you feel like it's a safer place. Also, for me, and people ask me, well, aren't you worried about liability? We've got a trampoline in the backyard. We've got a big playhouse. I don't worry about it, but to the extent that I think about it, I realize that if I know my neighbors really well, when they come by, if something happens, which is a low probability, they're much less likely to sue me because they know me. And they're not going to pull some stupid lawsuit on me when they know that all the other neighbors are watching as well.
Right. And so how has this changed your life and your family's life? What are some of the surprising things that have happened?
Well, for one thing, my kids don't want to be inside. They don't watch screens. They don't have that option. But also, their friends all want to come here, and we have some friends here today. They want to come here, and they want to play outside all the time. They don't want to play on video games. They don't want to play sit in front of the television. And we are this is my son Nico. You can take that money. Okay, there, Nico. And my son Marco, who's 7 years old, said to me, hey, can we live here our whole lives? He really said
that's
that
cool.
to me.
Right.
They really love it here, and other kids do too. So what we've tried to do, and I think we've been successful, is we've made this into a really cool thing for kids to do. Not just send your kids outside and they have to figure out what they're doing. We've made a place here that is a destination that kids everywhere want to be.
So you're like placemaking, but in the neighborhood, using your private property and putting stuff that kids love to engage in.
Right where we live, and making and because otherwise the kids around us and our kids would have a really boring life. Right.
And so, what is the Playborhood sort of? Is there a movement? Is this happening around the world, or?
I'd like to think so. I think that there's a lot more people we have to reach, but there are some people who have latched onto this idea and are trying to make their yard into a public-private hangout like we've done. A lot of people here today at this launch party who are trying to do the same thing. But there are a lot of people, by the way, I should mention, in my book that I discovered that started before me.
Right.
There are folks in Portland. You may be familiar with City Repair in Portland and Sherrod Square.
Yep.
I'm in total awe of them. But what I'm hoping to do is try to pull together those stories so we see that there's some pattern here, that it's not just this one place in Portland, there's one place in New York. It's happening in a lot of places, and maybe that'll coalesce and make a movement.
So how's this changed the lives of your kids? Have you seen any difference between before and after?
Well, it's not the answer you're looking for, but they never knew anything else.
Okay.
Our kids never had screens. They never had more interest inside the house and outside the house. We moved here only 3 years ago. I would say living here and building this great yard, what's happened to them is they become really popular on the basis of having a great, fun place to play outside.
Right.
And that's been really gratifying.
Right. And you know, I noticed in your house too, like you've got all these maps in there. What's behind that?
Well, I'm obsessed with maps.
Okay.
But also, it's really important for me, for my kids to have a sense of place, into the micro level of where they are, what their bedroom is like, what their house is like, to their city, to their state, to their country, and even their place in the universe. So we have
Right.
a solar system mural on our wall.
Yeah, so like it's they can locate themselves at all scales. So from their neighborhood to the city to I saw a big map of the United States,
Yeah.
and then something on your stairwell there was like the universe, right?
Right. Well, that was the solar system.
The solar system, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And
our driveway mural is really important as well. That's both a play space where kids can, and instead of the scale, you can put Lego base plates right on any lot, or drive, and it's the right scale for Hot Wheels or Matchbox cars or HO trains as well.
oh, cool. So it's like a track on there too.
Yeah.
So one more question. So for the aspiring Playborhood creators, you know, what would be your top tips for them?
Well, for one, Woody Allen has a great line that he's been quoted a lot. 80% of life is showing up. So where do you
Right.
show up as a parent? Do you show up at the mall? Do you show up at these scheduled activities for kids, or do you show up in your neighborhood? I say show up in your neighborhood more. Get to know your neighbors. Take your kids there. When you have places that you can walk to or ride a bike to, do that. Even if
Right.
it takes longer, it's better for your kids. So be in the neighborhood, get to know your neighbors, get them comfortable with you. Is one thing. Another thing is realize that human beings, especially kids, all have a tendency to want to hang out in a certain place.
Right.
And right now, kids are hanging out not in a physical place; they're hanging out at Facebook.
Right.
If you want your kids to have a hangout, you have to help create it, because the competition for their attention is so amazingly high. All the video games and television and internet.
Marketing, advertising, everything, right?
So they need to have a really compelling, cool place to be, physical place to be in their yard.
Awesome idea. You really brought it alive here. Good luck with your book, Mike. Playborhood. Thanks.
Thank you.